It's Reverend Will, Senior Minister at First Christian Church in Fulton, Missouri. Glad you could join us for this week's Midweek Devotion. Let's get right into it. When God calls you to do something, when the Spirit is calling you that you're going to be drafted into God's service, it's going to come as a surprise. We might think God is going to use what we're good at, our talents, those subjects you have expertise, the things you are, proficient in. Others point and say, "Hey, you're really good at that." That's not always how it works. Unexpected, ill-fitting, out of left field. These are apt descriptions of how it will feel when you're drafted to do something on God's behalf. And it certainly won't be on your timeline. You won't find it in your 5-year plan. It's not going to be on your vision board. You wouldn't have written it in your childhood diary. Instead, it will feel like an interruption. And you're not going to want to do it. You'll hem and haw. You'll try slowly to walk backwards out of the conversation. You'll rack your brain for excuses as to why it shouldn't be you. At least that's what happens to every single one of the biblical prophets God calls into service. Moses didn't want to go back and face the murder charges when a voice from a shrub engulfed in flame told him he'd lead his people out of bondage. He said, "I don't talk so good. Maybe try my brother Aaron." But God called him anyway, giving him a walking stick that could turn into snakes. Isaiah, he threw his entire people, his whole countrymen, under the bus when confronted with God's grandeur. He said, "This is bad. My country sucks. I suck. Yet here I am. I can't possibly survive this." But God cleaned him anyway. An angel burned away the suckiness with a live coal, leaving him raw but holy. Jeremiah went the age route when God revealed to him plans to speak on God's behalf. Jeremiah couldn't possibly have developed the vocabulary and rhetorical polish needed to speak on behalf of the one who created, well, everything. Quoting the 2000s pop punk band Simple Plan, he said, "I'm just a kid." Of course, that's not a problem for God. God will give the itinerary on where to go. God will supply the words on what to say. God will throw down a rescue ladder when Jeremiah is at the end of his rope. And I don't know about you, but this is a disconcerting truth. Because I have plans, I have dreams, I have things I want to do, and most of the time it doesn't involve going back to the scene of a crime or talk to people I just said suck or speak truth to people older, bigger, stronger, scarier than me. We might say we want to know what God has planned for our lives, what the good works are that Jesus has prepared for us, or the direction the Spirit will blow our lives toward, but we probably don't. Not if we truly understand that God is calling us to something. Most of the time, we will need prodding. We need a push. We will need someone to drag us away from our plans, our dreams, our wants, into what has been laid out in front of us. It might not even happen overnight. The seed might need years to germinate and then years to blossom. Waiting might be part of it. But God is more than happy to do that. Play the long game and disarm every one of our excuses. Mind you, it won't always be pleasant. Moses faced the news. Isaiah was burned clean. Jeremiah suddenly skipped way too many grades, all to bring God's word that tears down and builds up, kills and gives life, dies and is resurrected. But that doesn't mean it's not worth it. The fact of the matter is, God does not call the qualified, but qualifies the called. Or, as Luther said it, God's love does not find, but creates that which is pleasing to it. Maybe that's not so bad after all. It might even be good news. Maybe I'll put it on my vision board. Thanks for joining me for this week's midweek devotion. I hope you heard that word of grace that God does not call the qualified, but calls the qualified, but qualifies the called. It makes sense one way or another. We hope that you will join us for worship on Sunday at 10:30. But if not, our blessed